We're going to go ahead and turn everything over to Maria. So Maria's going to give her presentation, and then at the end, we'll talk about the art that folks have sent in. So let's see. Maria, are you all set to go? Let me switch over to your
Yeah.
slide here.
And
Okay.
you're going to be moving them for me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. I got
I love that poster, by the way, that Jill did.
to.
It's very cute.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if this works okay. There we go.
Okay. All right.
And Maria, I'll let you introduce yourself if you'd like. So,
Okay, sure. Well, I am an artist and I've been at it for a long time. And I became a teacher by coincidence one time in Brazil for 5 years. And in New York as well, 3 years, I taught drawing and painting, watercolor, that is, watercolor and collage. And I'm not an official teacher, quote unquote, but I learned a lot by teaching people. And one of them was that most people had no idea how to sign their work. They would do these beautiful paintings and then they would sign the names kind of anywhere, huge names. And I thought, oh, this is sort of a disaster. So I decided to put together a little workshop like this, just to explain these images here from Heidi Duckler's Dancers. I just love these. I had just seen this movie the day before I put this together, so I added those. But so you can go to the next one. Um, and so the big deal about signing your name is that a lot of people don't take it seriously. They just sort of sign it anywhere. A lot of times they have no idea where to sign because some work demands a certain scientific way to put that signature with what kind of paint or color or size of the your name. So it is considered really your brand, your logo, and your calling card. So you can never do just the minimum and slap on a name. So that's one of the main things is how do you envision your name on your painting is like a brand. And it is a definite way, there is a definite way to sign it, which is correct, quote unquote, because if you sign it correctly, it will be there without being noticed, without being heavy, just like a frame. A frame, when it's beautifully chosen, it enhances the work. It doesn't, shout out frame or make the work. The same thing with a signature. And the signature, of course, has to correlate to your work. It has to have the same feeling. And it allows you to be found, for one thing. So if you don't sign your work, you could become famous, and then they're going to have a hard time deciding whose work it is. The other thing I find is that it should be consistent. So if I sign M. Pacca in one thing, and then another day I sign Maria P, and then the MP, it doesn't work. It has to be a consistent signature. If you look at all the great artists, they sign their name the same way, and they don't change even the way they sign it, and they, make it legible. And they also put it in a strategic place, but that doesn't detract from the work. One of the things that I found is that people just do their check signing signature. Nowadays, we don't sign checks as much, but people still have a thing of like, oh, well, I'll just sign the name here. So that's just sort of the basic there. Okay, next. So I was in Aspen last year, walking into all these galleries, collecting different signatures, and I walked into this one, Guadalupe Laiz. She's a photographer, and can you go to the next one? There, she has this huge, beautiful gallery in Aspen. She just does. She travels all over the world and photographs elephants and horses and tigers. I mean, she's an incredible photographer and goes all over doing this. And then what I noticed in all of her work, and you can go back to the previous one, is that she had this very interesting signature that looked like a little squiggle there. And she saw me photographing, and I asked permission to photograph just the signature. And she was really happy when I did that, because she says, oh yeah, ever since I was a kid, I started to do this little squiggle, and because I've been an artist forever, and I just keep using it. And I thought, wow, this is really an amazing thing. So it's like her brand. And of course, on the back, her piece is completely, has her whole name, address, all that information is legible on the back. But she created this special little logo here. Okay, next. Okay, and then this particular artist here, this Santina, she was the one who in Brazil in 2013, when I was doing the drawing class with them, she's the one that inspired me to get this all together, because she had this huge long name, like Brazilians have this, and then this. I mean, like it's 5 names. And I thought, oh my God. And she would sign them in the back on the bottom. And I thought, one day I had a talk with her. I said, look, let's choose an artist name. What name do you prefer of all your names? She goes, oh, I love Santina. I said, great. So she started to sign Santina. And then she got very creative with how she would sign it and where she would put it. And I found it in this drawing. It kind of works with it. She did a lot of blind contour drawing. This one is 16 by 18 by 24. And I liked it so much that when we ended the class, she gave me this as a goodbye gift. So I thought it's a beautiful piece of artwork. So anyway, that started my working with the students to create, first of all, choosing an artist's name, and then creating a signature that goes with that. Okay, next.
And Maria, this one, it looks like it's almost part of the drawing, the way that
Yes, yes, it's so cool. And then she started to add her name, and then she would actually send Tina, and then she would go into a line, so then you would have to sort of see where the name was. Like on the thumb, there's a little squiggle, and I thought that's what she, but it's very cool how she did that. So
yeah.
And then I had a class where everybody was going to design their own, first of all, decide what their artistic name was going to be, because inevitably there, everybody has tons of names. And then they would create a piece of artwork that would let them kind of get loose with the idea. So this is Antonio Joffili, which is kind of a cool name. So he decided to just keep the A and the Joffily. And this is the work on the left that he created. It is 18 by 24, really nice piece. And then the class I was teaching at the time was blind contour drawing of figure. So he, put the signature there. Okay, next. And this one too, she was an Oriental girl, and I thought it was cute how it already, even in her way to kind of work at creating her signature, she already created something very abstract. Her name had a T in the middle, and then 2 vowels like and something with an A at the end. So this is a very balanced signature. And in the next, you can see how she worked it. Okay, next one. There. Her work was really cool, the way she, this is not really a figure, kind of an abstraction, but see her signature, how a very,
this one, it doesn't even look, it doesn't look like words at all. It's really just part of the art, which is
it doesn't, cool. Yeah, it became very kind of a symbolic thing.
Yeah.
And then the next one. This one, I like this piece of work so much. I know the name had a J. And so I just kept this piece of work because I thought it was really nice the way he worked on getting his signature. And
so where is the signature on this one, Maria?
Well, this is actually just the work that came into but then I couldn't find the slide that had the actual signature. Okay. So, but instead of taking it out, I kept it there because these are the kinds of things that they were just like gesture kind of things, and then they would come into a signature, like.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I also do a lot of Chinese painting, and I had this book, and I know Chinese always have a scientific way to do everything, right? So sure enough, Master Ning Ye had something to say about it, because the Chinese don't just sign their drawings in their paintings anywhere. It's studied like a scientific thing. So you can go to the next one. So it's there to create balance. So you see on the two on the right, there's an empty space there on the left, and he calls that a very uninteresting space. So then the signature would go there on the left to kind of balance everything else that's happening on the right. And one other way that he suggests is to draw a triangle so that you could put the signature to complete that sort of a geometric shape, which I thought was interesting too. Next. And I think if anybody has questions as we go along, you might, you can stop and ask. So,
Oh, and Maria, I was just going to say, if folks can put their questions in the chat if they don't feel comfortable talking, and I'll and I'll read the question out, or
oh, sure. Yeah,
yeah,
good.
feel free to unmute yourself as well.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't mind. As you can see, again, he calls it a monotonous space on the left here, on the bottom left of that drawing. So that would be a perfect place to put the signature. And then also another consideration would be not to block the flow. So if you put a signature on, some line that comes too close to the actual form, it blocks the flow. So you need to give it a little space so the signature could be there, but not cramping the style. So I thought these were interesting inputs from the Chinese department. Okay, next.
Yeah, these are really interesting to see how they kind of map them
Mm-hmm.
out. And talking about flow and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, no, this whole book, I mean, you can take any book of Chinese art and study where they sign. It's really beautiful. It's never, uh, you know, just fortuitous. They study where to put the signature. The signature becomes an element of the painting or the drawing. It doesn't just like, I gotta sign my name. It's very thought out. So I like that. And I don't know if any other culture that has such care with signing work as the Chinese and the Japanese. It's just like,
Yeah,
so.
amazing.
And then I collected a bunch of artwork in through this whole thing. I made it shorter, but I picked this particular artist, Don Andrews. He's a watercolor artist that does some very loose work with figure, almost an abstract way. And he would sign his name in a darker, I think it's signed up on top by her nose there on the head, really, really, how do you say, discreetly, so that it doesn't upset the whole apple cart here, because this whole space on the bottom is so beautiful to leave that. And then to have signed the name Don Andrews there, it would detract. So I thought it was nice that he didn't do that. He just maintained the signature within that whole thing. You have to almost look for it. So I kind of took him up on the next piece of work that you'll see that was at our gallery. This piece, when I did this watercolor a while back, I didn't sign it because I felt like, where are you going to sign this? You can't sign it here, obviously here. I ended up signing it in pencil, very lightly over here. So I did sign the original finally. It took me a long time to create the thing of thinking like it should be signed. A lot of people told me, you have to sign it. Here I'm talking about signing work and I don't sign this. So I thought, okay, I will do it. But I'm not shy in signing names, as you can see on the next slide.
Well, and Maria, I just want to say about the signing in pencil, I think is a really interesting idea because you can do it as lightly as as possible because it's in pencil, and
Yes,
it really can kind of just sort of fade into the paper, I think.
I think so. I think that's what I was able to achieve with this, because if I had put color in it, it would have detracted, it would have just, and you can never sign quite small with the pen, with a brush, it just comes out. I thought, and I only had one, with watercolor, you only have one trial, like you can't erase it. So with
Can you
pencil, it's
can you
perfect.
point out where it is on here because I'm
Oh,
having
no,
difficulty seeing it.
oh, no, no, you are not seeing it because this was taken before I did sign it. Finally, when I put a frame on it and I took it to the art gallery, I signed it right there, like this in pencil. So it's really hard to see, but it's not
I
in
don't
this.
know where right there
In
is.
the
Oh, oh, oh,
lower
sorry.
right corner.
Right at the bottom of her bottom here.
Oh,
The
okay.
middle, right there, exactly. Yeah. I keep
Okay.
thinking you can see with my pointer, but you can't.
And Maria talked about this particular painting in our Saturday critique. She did it with one single brushstroke, which I think is really amazing.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is a fun painting. Anyway, one huge brushstroke. It started up on the left, and then I lifted the brush just enough to get the torso, and then that's why it's jaggedy at the bottom of the torso on the right.
Because that's where you lifted your brush
But I
up.
lifted, yeah, to just do the top. I figured I needed to concentrate on the top of it, and the bottom was just going to be whatever it was, because the brush was like a 6-inch brush. It was a huge brush that I have, like that Chinese Japanese brush.
Except for the nipple, of course. You went
No,
back and
that was the
that
only
in.
second
Yeah.
stretching. Yeah, I went
Yeah,
back with a
that
little
would have
brush.
been amazing if you did that with the same brush.
I know that would that would have been. So I'm just putting my drawing here to show you I am not shy at all about signing name like that, and it started in a class in LA, Chenard Art Institute, and there was this huge wall, and you had to put your drawing up, and if you didn't put it big enough, with the name big enough, the teacher would say, "Who didn't sign that name?" And I go, "Oh dear," and I used to sign it very tiny. And then, so then he would say, "Sign it so I can see it." I think he was sort of blind, but anyway, so I started to sign my name really large. But I also am always conscious of where I put it in the drawing, so that it follows some flow and so it doesn't cut into the figure. So, there's some thought involved in doing that. So,
Could I ask you a brief question?
sure, please.
In regard to the readability of the signature, if you're a complete unknown and you kind of, nobody knows who you are, do you want your signature to be readable, or do you want, or why would you want it to be abstract? Why would you want it to be a little scroll down thing? What about the artist that, well, I don't know. Maybe you can address this later if you want to, but I'm just wondering about, if you're a complete unknown artist and you want somebody to know who you are, do you you make it real legible?
Yeah, I would say yes. I don't know that you would have it, be completely illegible. I make it nice and, create a signature. I mean, like a logo, think about your signature, what it is that you're signing, and always sign the same thing, your whole name, or just however you're going to. You don't have such a long name that you can put the whole name together, but even your name in a small piece of work could be too big. You know what I mean? That's why, I started signing Maria Pacca. And then in some drawings, I just put M Pacca. Then later I thought, you know what? I'm just Pacca because it's such a short name and it fits most drawings. And so I just now sign Pacca. So kind of, anyway, but yeah, it's a good question. I would make it legible. And if you don't make it legible and you create some sort of symbolic graphic, just like that Guadalupe, that famous photographer, you then have on the back all your information. You put your name, the medium, the size, the date, where it was painted. You can put, a biography on the back of the painting as long as you identify it. And then you could go really free with how you sign it, as long as you maintain always the same signature, so that people start, oh, I know that's a Justin. I could tell that, so that's what would be my thought about it.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. For example, Claude Monet always signs his name so that you could really understand what it is. And because he signs with oil paints, and when you have a thick medium like oil paint, you can see how it was kind of an achievement to get that so it's legible, and he always puts the date. And this is a huge painting. I just took a little bit of it, but it was signed on the left-hand side. But it's interesting how he makes it with a color that's compatible with what's going on, but he puts it so very legibly. And the painting was probably, obviously this is just 1/8 of the piece. And always understanding that the signature is a part of your work, which is part of you. So it's all like a domino thing, what's your work all about? You. What's your signature about? You. And so that's what that is out there. The next one talks about, I took Claude Monet's work a lot because he was in an exhibit at the Denver Museum when I started putting this, and he just signs it so beautifully. It's always so legible and in a sort of a daring way, like this is really dark signature here for the lightness of this whole painting. And the next one. And this painting here, I thought it was cool that he signed it in red because the whole painting was this big, huge thing of green, you know, like, and here he signs it in red on the left-hand side. Very, very prominent way to sign. It wasn't shy at all. And so one of the things I learned about how people sign it, and it's a study that I'll talk about in a little bit, graphology, but if you give someone a piece of paper, a big piece of paper, you know, in a beginning class and say, okay, please sign, where would you sign your name? You'd be surprised. Some people just take the tiniest little corner on the left-hand side and type this tiny name, you know, others will write big name like Jill did with John Hancock on top of the Mona Lisa, you know, so you learn a lot about an artist in the way that the way that they signed their name. It's like a story about you. So next. So I was in this gallery in Aspen, and I walked into this gallery, and I couldn't believe the ballsiness of this guy to sign Alec, right? Look at, with dripping things, with like neon lights on top of him. And I looked at the gallery owner. I said, but really, that signature? He goes, yep, he sells them for thousands of dollars. I said, okay. So it puts my case to rest. So in other words, if you make a name for yourself, you can sign it however it is. To answer your question, Justin, that is very readable, right? It's like putting a spotlight on it. So anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, because it's so big, Maria, it really becomes part of the art. I mean, it's like takes up a lot of space.
It does, but I find it that he didn't incorporate it in a way that I find it harmonious. I don't think this is cool at all. I mean, I added because it was like the most extreme signature I've come across.
Yeah.
But I think, it's I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is the antithesis of everything I'm saying. So, and then I was this is at the Met in New York, and I was, I'm like going around finding signatures of everybody. So Alice Neal was having a show, a one-woman show, was a beautiful show with many, many paintings. So I collected several.
Maria, we're getting some background noise from your microphone. I don't know if maybe you could be touching your microphone or something.
Oh, it could be, yes.
It's sort of a static kind of thing.
Oh, that's right. No, because I'm moving back and forth. That's right. I'll be more careful.
Okay.
So
yeah, or if you have bracelets on or something, like you're shaking, it kind of sounds like that.
No, that's true. I'll stop shaking and wait.
Thank you.
But anyway, so you can see how Alice Neal takes signing her name in a very kind of interesting way. You have to almost look for it in each painting, but it's there and it's not obtrusive. It's very harmonious. Okay, next. And then at the MoMA, I walked into the room and I said, Barnett Newman, let's see. He didn't sign his name. From far away, I didn't see the signature. So as I walked up close, here it is on the left-hand side and very discreet, Barnett Newman, and it's in the front of this painting, which I wouldn't think I would, for some reason, this particular kind of work, I don't know that I would sign like he did, but I thought it was cool that he did. Next one. And I was pleased to find that Jackson Pollock in this painting, which is like huge, and this is just a little tiny corner of it, that he left in the middle of the painting, this little clean area here where he put Jackson Pollock, even Jackson Pollock likes to, even he signs his name, I mean, it's as if he didn't need to. Nobody does work that's quite like his, but he signed his work, all of it, so. Okay.
Oops, I pressed end by accident. So let me find my way here. Sorry.
It's okay. Let me get a glass of water. I'll be right back.
All right. Jackson Pollock's signature sort of looks like a splash of paint also.
It does look that way, yeah, but it is very readable there, Jackson Pollock. At least you can see the Pollock very well. And then there are some forms of art that have more of a traditional way to sign, and one of them is with prints. Normally people print or sign their names on the left, put the title of the work in the middle, and then the edition numbers on the left. Did I say left and right? Name on the right, and then the edition numbers on the left. So that's the typical way of signing artwork that's in, print form. So, okay. So this is just final tips on signing. And what I would say is if you have developed a signature that's more symbolic or like a emblematic, consider always, like I was telling Justin, putting all your information on the back, so you don't have to worry about if it's legible or not. If it's your like a graphic design even that you've developed, make sure that it's legible in the back. You have all your information in the back. And I suggested books on graphology because when I was in college, I came across a book by coincidence that had all these artists' signatures, comparing their work, their signature, and of course their personality. So it was really fascinating to see how it's all very coherent, And one of the signatures in that book that really impressed me was this one that you see on the right, is Anna Pavlova, the great ballerina for the Russian ballet back in the 20s and 30s. And you can see how she signs it. The left starts with A, like Anna, and then P for Pavlova goes like an arabesque all across the name. And she used to send people these little cards of hers, like a thank you for coming to my ballet. So anyway, but I had an interesting experience with that, and I'll end this with this, that my impression and my idea is that everything that you do or that one does has a coherent style. And by that, I mean everything you do, like the way you sign your name, the way you paint, the way you eat, the way you wash dishes, the way you move, it's all coherent. It's very full of one same style. And we can't see it because we don't know how we move. But if someone watches us, they could tell. And I learned this because when I was in college, I was taking a painting class from this fabulous Japanese teacher. And she would invite always the dance class to come and do a number so that we could, paint the dancers. This one day I was not in the painting class. I was in the dance class. So here I come with my black little leotard and do my little move. And at the end of it, she comes up to me and says, "You paint just like you dance. If I had to put the painting next to you, I would know it was yours." So I thought that was a very cool way to, only someone who would see me paint and dance could say that to me. So anyway, I shared that with you because I think it's interesting. So anyway. Okay.
Maria, this signature reminds me of John Hancock, like you just mentioned from the poster,
Yeah.
where he became famous just for his signature and the way that he signed it on all these government documents. Everybody
Yes.
recognized it so easily that that's what this signature reminds me of.
Yeah, no, the study of signatures is really fascinating. I mean, people don't think much of it, but even graphology has been used in companies with the personnel department. They will study how you write your name. And there are graphologists who can say, "No, don't hire this person," or "Yes, hire this person." It's just amazing. So we just write our name without thinking about it, but there's the whole, let's say, science behind it, which is really fascinating. So, okay, so much about signing.
Okay.
Any questions before? Yeah.
What do you think about dating paintings after or near your signature?
I think that it's a personal thing. I stopped doing it because I have a lot of work that I've done in the past or that I signed and dated, and I haven't entered into anything, I haven't shown, but because it's like 5 years old or 10 years old, now I can't go into this show or that show. So I just, I've been an artist since I'm 15. So I'm in my early 70s. And so I have a lot of artwork. So then I stopped putting the date because I find that that's not, why? Just I sign it and that's it. So I've stopped doing that, but it's a personal choice, really.
Do you think it's okay that your signature evolves? Like I look at older paintings and I can tell when I started changing my signature. So I can kind of, for myself, date my paintings by when my signature changed.
That's very cool. Yes, absolutely. Because you change and your signature changes. Your signature really is the now pouring of you. So yeah, that's very cool to be able to see that. That's really cool.
Okay.
Mhm. Any
Maria,
more questions? Yeah.
I was just wondering, should you sign your name with paint if you're painting, or should you switch to like a magic marker, or does that
Good
blow it out,
question.
kind of
Normally,
ruin it?
yeah, I mean, nowadays you could do anything like that Alec guy, right? I mean, you can break all the rules and it's okay. But traditionally, if you do a watercolor, you want to sign with watercolor. But you can sign with pencil. Even in books on watercolor painting, they say you could use a pencil on watercolor. With oils, for example, you want to sign with oils. You don't want to put in an oil painting with a marker. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
You just master the job of getting your name signed, which I find always the hardest part with oils or acrylic is to sign my name to a painting. I have to sign it 3 or 4 times. I wipe it and do it again. Takes more time to sign than to paint the whole thing. But anyway, you try to keep the same kind of medium, kind of like a traditional thing. I mean, you can change, nowadays break all the rules, but especially with markers, I would avoid markers. So any more questions about that?
I guess I just have a comment.
No?
One of the things I've found with beginning painters is that they like to sign it near the bottom and the edge of the painting. And of course, with watercolor, if you put a mat on it, often it's almost hidden by the mat. And
Right.
so, I liked what you talked about in terms of balancing the signature, but is there a typical place that you would put it?
Well, before signing, sometimes it's good to get a mat and already see where, how much of it's a watercolor, usually a half an inch or an inch that's going to be taken in. So you want to make sure that you don't hide the signature. And I've done that a few times. I'll sign it at the bottom, they go, oh, or else I'll sign it 2 or 3 times in my watercolors because I sign it in a way that it's discreet, like it's not at the bottom. It's with the work somehow at the bottom. And I've gotten some watercolors where I go, oh, wait a minute, I signed this already here. I don't find my own signature. So, but yeah, that's one way to avoid losing the signatures, making sure that when you put a frame or a mat, it's still there, the typical place is the right-hand corner, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, you could sign on top. A lot of the old artists would sign things right up at the top instead of the bottom. So.
Okay, thank you.
So Maria, you didn't talk about titling work. Do you have anything to say about that?
Oh yeah,
I
that's
see
the
Francis
next,
has her hand up.
that's the next half of my little presentation. But
Oh,
are we
excellent. I
okay?
thought you were finishing up.
No, it's just that we made a pause here. So
We're taking a short intermission here, Jeannie.
Nice.
Take
Well,
questions.
I see Francis has her hand up.
Oh, okay. Where?
I do. I carve stone, and it's real hard to do a signature in stone, especially marble. And so I have what's called a maker's mark. It's about the size of an eraser head, brass, and it has probably like just a swirl, and it's my initial FAL. I'm now, and I carve in the summertime, water and outdoors. And now I come in and I do some acrylics. So it would be probably tacky to put that maker's mark on my canvas to poke it through. Or now you talk about doing a coherent style. If I just do those swivel marks, and I'm sorry that I'm not on video. If I do that swivel mark on my paintings, it doesn't look like anything. It looks like somebody scribbled. So I would have to do a full signature, at least last name. But I thought to follow consistently, how would I do that? I have a rubber stamp. I could rubber stamp it.
Well, I like Ed's solution to it. He made a little Chinese stamp, right, Ed, and had it carved with his initials. So all his paintings can either do that or he can sign them. But again, you can always create some kind of emblematic signature and then put your signature, sign your name and put all that information on the back of the piece so that it can be identified. The whole idea of signing is that when you become famous, they want to know whose painting that is, right? And so, and if it's just an emblematic thing, they're going to take the frame apart, look everywhere to see what, what clue is there, whose painting is this? And if your name is in the back legibly, obviously it's not a problem. So
I do a dust cover and the certificate of authenticity on the back of the paintings with the proper hooks and so forth.
Yeah, so that shouldn't be a problem then. I mean, if it's properly identified, but also if you just glue the certificate on there, it could get lost in time. So you want to make sure that
it's
somehow
on the back of the canvas as well. Yes.
On the canvas itself, like you write it in a pencil on the back of the canvas, your name and all that. So nobody can take it out or lose the paperwork afterwards,
Right. I do both of those. But do
And
you
Francis,
think?
Francis, you can send a photo of your signature thing if you'd like for us to look at it at the end.
that would be cool.
Okay, I'll do that. But to embed a metal thing into my canvas, would that be absurd?
No, but I'm not, you're saying like while the paint is wet, you would embed it kind of like an impression. Is that what you're saying?
Like an earring, like a lapel pin. It's like a lapel pin.
Oh, I see.
So it would be a three-dimensional thing on the painting.
Well, that could become a new thing. It could be your way of making your work known as your work. There is always a very harmonious way to do that. And there's, if you put a huge thing locked up, it might not, but
charm.
Okay,
well, I will try that, and I'll get into my file here and send it to info.
Yeah.
My logo.
info@boulderartassociation.org, and we'll pick it up for the end here.
I've got that written down.
And Ed, you can show how you do your little stamp. I think that's really cool too.
Oh yeah, so I have those that teed up for at the end as well. So we'll do that.
Oh, cool. Okay. Great.
All right.
Anybody wants?
Oh yeah. So let's see. Let's go. You want to go back to your slides then, Maria?
Yeah. I mean, I can wrap up the titling faster. So.
Okay. Let's see. Let me share screen again.
Okay. So really quickly about titling. Titling is a very, it's a choice you make to title or not to title. I have changed my attitude about titling because in college, obviously in those days, it was so cool to just put untitled number, whatever. I have so many drawings and prints from those days, untitled. Hello, untitled happens to be a title, and I've talked to gallery owners who say, when you make a title that's interesting, it looks, the buyer will look at that and go, wow, somehow the painting will call to him and the title will sort of seal the deal or not. So you have to be very careful. So when you look online and you go, Girl on a Shell, this painting comes up of Botticelli, The Birth of Venus, which is such a beautiful title. But you see, you could be, how do you say, you could be not poetic about it and put a title that has nothing to do with the painting or doesn't connect the feeling and doesn't allow the viewer to interject his own interpretation of it. So those are the cares to take with titling. So next. For example, I had fun with this. Untitled number 2. Everybody knows this painting, right? As the girl with the pearl earring. I mean, so there's something about titles that's also very charismatic, especially works that we are all familiar with and we have known through time as being artists. You see over and over again, the title becomes part of this work. Next.
Maria, did Vermeer title any of his paintings?
That is a good question. I'm not sure. I should have looked into that, but yeah, I don't know if titles came afterwards, but
well, they even named a movie after this painting. So
exactly, I know. Yeah, it's a very famous painting.
It would have been a strange title for a movie, Untitled.
Exactly. So that's the other thing. Movies and books and song and music, they don't ever use Untitled. That would be a waste of everything to put a movie, say Untitled, hello. Nobody does that. So it's almost like another avenue to make your work known is to get your title out there, not use that. You know, you have the visual, you have everything else, all these components, and you have a way to put a verbal connection to your buyer or your audience. And to not do that, to just put Untitled, it's almost like, I don't, like, hey, I'm not here. Just look at it however you like. Your interpretation is good as whatever. So I don't know, Untitled, I began to look at Untitled as sort of an unfriendly way to title work. So I've stopped doing it. And when I was in college, I was so moved by the title of this particular painting that I've never forgotten it. So I added it in this talk, Bird Depressed by the Length of the Winter 1944. I mean, that is one huge title, but I never forgot it. And it was painted in 44, and it was the year before the war ended. And people were just like, it was a huge, long winter. And so it's a very moving painting to me. I think it was like, wow, what guts that he had to put that title. And a lot of critics have looked at this title and wrote about that, how really courageous it is to name this painting that, Like
And
kind
Maria,
of,
is this the whole painting or is just the?
This is the whole painting, and the bird is somewhere in the middle there. Sort of, he does an abstraction of birds. He became, how do you say, really taken in by birds and the symbology of birds. So he used them a lot. So I'm kind of adding here as an introduction to, as an artist that's really not well known, but he became internationally known back in the day. The next slide will give a little more information. He was one of the first from the Pacific Northwest to achieve national and international acclaim. And as you can see, his versions of birds are kind of out there, but this is all back in the 40s, late 40s, 50s. So there's something about titles. So if he had put Untitled, I would never obviously even have a remember of Morris Graves, but because he titled it so incredibly poetically, here it is. So just a few things to wrap up. If you want to give people an inkling of what it is that you are trying to put across, you want to give a title that inspires, gives them an insight into what made you paint that, or you don't. Maybe you want to be very secluded, but even being kind of hermetic, you could do a title that doesn't say Untitled, but will say the minimum in a way. You could become poetic about it. So those things are kind of self-explanatory: original, memorable, not too cheesy, and remembering that it could help you sell the work or not. I mean, and that's another thing. A signature and a title in a piece of work can either break or make it. Because if you sign it in a way that's not, you can, a seasoned buyer, connoisseur of art, will look at that signature and know whether you've been painting for a while, you know what you're doing, and even with the title. So those are two considerations to keep in mind that are really make or break a sale. I think that's it. No. Then I had fun with these new titles that I gave to these works. The smiling face. And then some of these that you'll find, I gave you some ideas of where to look into to get more information, but they give you some ideas, like you have a titling party. So you've done a whole collection of paintings and you can't think of any name of it. Have a party, have all your friends be drinking wine and coming up with titles. That would be a fun thing to do. Or as you paint, keep notes on what your mind is describing about your work. I know that sometimes I'm painting something and this a title will come in like doing, like in my head. It's really funny, like a whole sentence. I have one painting, a watercolor, that it was just like before I was done with it, it was like doing, the whole sentence came in. I thought, oh, okay, I'll take that, And of course, these are other ways that you can come up with interesting titles with a thesaurus or, research poetry. Poets are wordsmiths, so they're fabulous with words. So here we are, we're painters, we're not wordsmiths. And so I have a hard time sometimes coming up with titles that are, describing not too much and et cetera, et cetera. But I have talked to, like I said, even Rob, I remember I asked him about that. He says, yep, I think titles are important. So I thought it was cute that our.
And Marie, do you have a title for this one with the hands?
Oh, this is the hand drawings. They're all my drawings.
Okay.
I ran out of things I ran out of the dancers to put because I put some of my, I do a lot of hand.
I was wondering if you actually had titled this one with this hand.
No, but the funny thing is I didn't sign it either because these are just studies, so I didn't sign this. But anyway. And then I wanted to see if everybody could identify, like these paintings are all famous paintings. Does anybody know what this one is? This is a Manet, and it's called Déjeuner sur l'herbe, or Lunch on the Grass. So, and it was a painting that made absolute furor in Paris when it came out. Can you imagine? I mean, probably to this day, it still gets to a lot of people. Here's this nude woman with two dressed men, like having a picnic on. I mean, this painting is one of the most incredible ones I know of.
And it's a Manet.
It's a Manet, yeah.
Manet.
Leave it to Manet.
Ah, yes. Water lilies.
Water lilies. And you can see how he signed on the bottom there very discreetly.
This one, the signature really does fade right into the.
It does, yeah. I'm surprised at that one.
Starry Night.
Right through it here. So we all know this one.
It's interesting how we know the title of this one in addition to who painted it.
Most of these we know the title to, that's why I put them there. But this one here is so famous. It's just, who doesn't know this one? And then the next one, same thing. The Mademoiselle of Avignon.
So.
So.
I'm laughing because I'm like, what?
And then the last one. And the interesting thing about this painting, which is famous, of course, is that it originally was called Arrangement in Gray and Black, the artist's mother. And it's an American painter, but this painting is in Europe somewhere. It's in Paris, I think. So you never know what kind of life your painting will come up with its own, title over time. So it became known as Whistler's Mother. Nobody knows it if you say Arrangement in Gray and Black, Anyway, that's it on there on titling. And then sign it like you mean it and title it with love.
Aw.
Oh, I see. These are the titles from the.
These are the titles in case someone was wondering what they were. And then the last one I give you, these are the credits from, I took all this information from the internet. And my favorite one, one of the most complete ones at the bottom here, Jason Horridge, he has a Xanadu Gallery, and he does an art like academy, really fabulous. And he has a lot of articles on all kinds of things. But I think, Ed, then I sent you the links, right, to all these.
Yeah, so I just put the links in the chat.
The red dot blog is Jason's, isn't it?
Which one?
I think he has a blog called the Red Dot blog.
Yes, the red dot blog, exactly. Yeah.
And he's really great.
He's great.
His
Yeah,
articles are fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
And when I was first becoming an artist, Jill, I didn't understand the red dot thing, but now I do. That means it's sold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like red dot. What? I don't get. What's up with that?
All right. Well, thank you very much. And that's the end of that. If anybody has questions, or we can go back at the end, right? People have work for us to look at.
Yeah, we'll look at some art next. Is any questions before we go start looking at art? Let me get set up here just a moment.
And I'll get some more. I don't know what happened with my water bottle.
Let's see. So Jeannie, I think we're going to start with you. I'm sort of doing these in the
You're
order.
muted, Jeannie.
So Ed, I put in two, yeah, don't show the second one yet, because the second one I pulled up into Procreate and put in a title where I think it should go. But I haven't signed it yet though. So this,
Oh, I see. Are these, oh, okay. These are in the folder.
yeah, there should be, right, there should be a new one in the folder that,
Got it.
well, also we have that one stamp is in there too. So this is to just have the conversation, and then I can show you what I was thinking of doing. I haven't done it yet. I just did it digitally on my Procreate, but I haven't done it on the actual piece yet.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this is a signature one. And Maria, I actually have my signature as a J in a circle. And usually, and a lot of times the J, the bottom part is kind of like angular and goes, or sometimes circular and just, but that's my usual signature. And
Good.
I did, and this is the 8x8 on wood. It's color pencil on wood.
Also, you did this already on wood. It's already.
Yeah, this is done. I haven't signed it yet. I just wanted to hear your input. Although I do have an idea that Ed, if Ed can find it, he's probably, it's in that folder where I put in for Ed's information. I made a folder of all the art pieces to share tonight. So I put in one that I think I know where I would sign it. But it just came to me recently. Oh, there, he just showed it. So do you see the J in the circle on the paper?
Oh, yeah.
I do, yes.
So I haven't done that on the actual piece yet, but I was thinking that might be where I put it, because I'm one of those people that prefer very discreet signatures. When even the famous artists, when they have their signature in the big black, their full name on the very light, I did not like that at all. I would say sign it in white if you can be big like that. So what do you think?
I like that. But so then you've signed this right there. That's the signature on this piece, or you would.
I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
I pulled up the image into my digital Procreate on my iPad, and I drew it in, but it's not on the actual piece yet. That's just my idea of where to put it.
That is absolutely so discreet that it would be hard to see that as your signature, because it's, for one thing, it's not in a usual, like people look at the signature traditionally on the, the right hand side at the bottom or edges or so. So if you put it there, it's it will be, because it gets mixed up with all the little circular things. It's kind of it's an interesting, it looks part of the drawing, but Huh, that's very cool. I like that. You could do like Ed has that stamp, you know, you could do that
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's
So
changing
in
it.
soapstone, in soapstone or something. That would be cool.
Oh yeah, one day get my J done. I have fun signing it. So you're are you saying that I should sign it somewhere else? A part of me thinks it would ruin the piece if I put I mean, unless it was at the left from our view, the left part below the branch. I thought there, but I don't know.
Jeannie, for me, it seems like there's something that's bothering me about the blue behind this. Like if maybe if you moved it up to where
Yes,
there's more of a white background, it would
I agree. So it's not
work.
part of that visual, that image. It's just on its own somewhere so that it's your signature there. Maybe.
And
I actually, and Jeannie, I'm not a signature expert. I sign the back of my pieces because I don't, I'm beyond subtle. It's not even visible. So I'm probably not the expert here, but in the lower left where there's kind of an arc in the branch,
yeah.
because yours is in a circle and there's circles in kind of the upper left and there's kind of this, it would actually flow, your eye would travel amongst all the circular objects. So my inclination would be in kind of that arc at the bottom left.
Yeah, I see where the arrow is, where Ed had the arrow.
Yeah, like, yeah, kind of still leave some white space away from the branches and don't crowd them. But I think to me that seems like a really nice place because then it's a design element because you have kind of circular objects on the tree and you have circular objects on the branches. And so it closes the loop and it becomes an art piece or art potential part of the, I guess, aesthetic. And it's another circular element as opposed to an intrusive one. So I actually think it could enhance the eye flow throughout the canvas or throughout the board. It's a board.
Yeah. So here goes Ed. And now see, to me,
I'm thinking a little more to the right.
Yeah. And now he's just having a hard time. It's hard for him to, because are you using your mouse when you do that?
I am using
Yeah, so that's really tricky. But also the coloring, I was debating about doing it red. The deep red to match the crab apples and the apples. But light. I always like it very light. I often sign in an off-white on my work or in somewhere.
My headset died, but all the shadows of your little red bulbs are, you know, the charcoal grayish, kind of bluish grayish color. So I think there, and I don't have annotation available because I'm not Ed, but directly where the V of your branches are, if we followed that down kind of at an angle, no, the other V, where the shadow actually touches.
Right here?
No.
To the right. To the right. No.
What?
There.
Right here.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. And that way, like, it seems like it could be but you know, it's just,
I'm terrible about
but I
this.
wouldn't have actually touched I don't know, for some reason it's zoomed in on my screen, so I wouldn't touch the shadow. I'd create some white space away from the actual painting, but definitely that would be the spot. And
I think it would hide too if it was the same.
A design element.
If it was the same color as the shadow and the charcoal color.
Yeah.
I think it would come across as more subtle.
Yeah, I think so. To put red there, then it really pops up.
Agree, no red. I'm with the ladies on that one.
Great. Well, you saw that I already was thinking in that direction with my sample. Well, thank you. You guys gave me some great input, and my title is Apple Love because I love apples, and these are crab apples, and then they're regular apples drawn by a child. Or my, after working with kids for so many years, my idea of what a child draws. So anyways, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Sure. Yeah, that's very cool.
It's a very nice painting, Jeannie. I really love it.
Thank you. Color pencil only.
It's really nice.
Thank you.
And you did it directly on the wood, right?
Yeah.
I did. I actually have another version of that I'm going to share at the Saturday Critique. I have a second version.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
Great.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
let's go to next to Jill Musser. Okay.
Mm.
So do we still have Jill on? I think she might have dropped off.
Her sound wasn't coming on. She was having troubles with that this morning. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
maybe-
see her.
I don't see her. So let's go to our next one then. Well, one thing I wanted to say about this, Maria, is in Saturday critiques, we often rotate the art.
Uh-huh.
And, once you start rotating, especially abstract art, it really changes your perspective on stuff. And I
Yes.
think if once you've got a signature on there, that gives it a particular direction that it should be
Right.
on.
Oh, I
So
see her signature now that you turned it.
you do?
Yeah.
Right there on the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah, so when it's upright, it's actually in the lower right-hand corner, but it's very up close to like this white
It's
area.
really well signed. It's discreet. It's there. It's, like, see, look, when you, well, it's now upside down, but
Yeah, it's upside down now.
So you're saying it's right here somewhere?
Yeah. So go right where the white meets the gray.
It's really small on my screen, so I think that's why I'm
Oh,
having
okay.
trouble seeing it.
Yeah, it says J Muser on it.
yeah, no, it's well signed.
Mm-hmm. That's very
The
nice.
bottom right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, she chose a little corner that's nothing too much happening and put it there.
Oh, I see it finally here.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
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 It was funny. I didn't see it till you rotated it.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh. Okay. Next, we're going to go to Jill Rumley. Is this updating for folks?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So I've only been painting for about, I guess it's 7 years now. I started in 2015, and I just started signing everything Rumley, like you said. With I was painting in oils, so it's very hard to write, Rumley like the way I would write it. So I wrote it kind of very printed, and I started dating everything. The interesting thing is somebody said to me, "Oh, don't sign it with your husband's last name because then they'll think it's his work." And I'm like, okay, well, it's my name too. I mean, I took his name, but I just find that very interesting. I don't date mine on the front anymore, and I've actually changed my signature from this, but I wanted to get your opinion on, like, because I honestly think I ruined it because I was signing my stuff like this, and it's like, I don't know, I just don't like the way they turned out, and I'm tempted to paint over them and re-sign them.
Let's see. So we can't see it because it's larger than the signatures. The signature is hidden there.
It's in the
Let me
lower
try
area.
zooming out. Is this
I can
helping?
see it okay, but
Oh, there. When it goes smaller, we can see it. But that's now there. That's
All
perfect.
right. I've got.
go
Now we
back.
can see it.
Go back. There you go.
Let me
Well,
try.
I just have one thing to say about that. It's
Okay.
like, if I had signed my name with last name of husbands, I would be in trouble because I'm now for the fifth husband, and I decided not to change my last name, and I haven't in the past. I would sign my name, so it was maybe, but I like the idea that you don't need to put Jill either. Just put Rumley. If it's a nice name for an artist actually. But your husband does work too, right? He's
a photographer, yeah. And I've changed my signature since to just my initials, JR. And then I was at the art walk, and my husband said, "Hey, I saw this gal, and she's doing work, and her signature is identical to yours, and she signs her stuff JR."
I see. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's that also. I mean, putting signatures, just abbreviations of name, is dangerous because an MP could be anybody, JR could be anybody.
Yeah. So do you think I should kind of stick with Rumley then, or?
If it feels good to you that, if you, I would. I mean, it's a good name. I wouldn't change it. And I like the way you sign it too. There's a nice graphic. Let's see, can we see it again? Yeah, there's a nice rhythm to it, and it's very readable. I like it that way.
Okay.
So yeah, I would keep that.
Jill, I was thinking that potentially with this one, it could have gone like right along right here next to the apple.
Yeah.
It could be, yeah. So it's not so prominent because you do have it in a way that it really shows up. Your name really shows up, right?
Right.
Or it could be in shades of green right below that emerald green line that you have for like a second horizon up front. Yeah,
The
right
table.
here.
Yeah.
You know, in some shades of green, you could add. It would even, how do you say? It would mix into those lines that you have, and it would be distinct. But yeah.
And I titled this one Hunter's Lunch.
Yeah, that's a good title. I mean, someone will remember this more than they go untitled number 4, right?
Duck decoy with apple.
Yeah.
You know, Jill, it's in black, but I actually think it works because the green is really dark and then they're black on top, or if it's not black, it's a very dark color. I think it works.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I think
Oops,
did
sorry. Sorry about that.
Turn it upside down. What does it turn into?
it's a habit.
I can't resist.
Yes.
Wow.
So here's my other one where I started with the JR.
And where's the JR? Oh, it's cut off, so we can't see, but it's
Oh
on
yeah,
the
can you
left-hand
make it
side.
smaller, Ed?
Well,
Oh, there it
you
is.
go.
Oh, that's a nice JR. You mean someone was signing your name just like you did?
She signs it very similar. Yeah. It's weird.
Wow.
I know. What to do, what to do.
Well, given this theme, it could almost use one of those stamps, you know, the Oriental stamp to go with it. Koi fish are usually very Oriental.
Yeah, this is titled Feng Shui. So
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, somehow I would move the signature there so that it doesn't call because your eye does go to it, you know.
Yeah.
Instead of staying up with the movement that's happening here. So maybe I would sign this someplace that you wouldn't think of right off, like the top fish, maybe in between these things, just slightly there, you know, like a continuation of that fish, or you know what I mean? So that it doesn't detract from this beautiful ballet that you have going on there.
Yeah.
The other thing, Jill, with this one, I kind of see it as maybe this really light blue, you know, that you've got through the lines here. The signature could be in that light blue.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So it kind of blends in with the overall blue background.
Yeah.
But still visible.
Yeah, I agree. It would be a little lot less. Makes people kind of look for it if you keep it there. But I think I would work on. You've already done this one, right? It's
Yeah, and this piece is just mainly for my own home.
Okay.
I hang it in my home, so
I see.
it's not a big. It's actually a part of 3. There's 3 of them.
Oh, cool. Oh, it looks good that way.
I know. Actually, I was going to repaint it and try moving the fish around.
Yeah.
But you know, I might just go back to Rumley, you know, if I'm getting encouragement from the folks here.
If you like Ed said, you could even write the whole Rumley, but in a very light blue somehow, and in a wispy way, so it could become part of the fish. So it's not like Rumley, but you know, you could put it Rumley in the very light over there, and it wouldn't detract.
Okay.
Jill, do you have a middle initial? That might be fun to do that activity that Maria suggested with her class, to play with your initials. But because I like those initials, I like that. But Rumley looked good. The Rumley looked really good.
Yeah, my middle name is Kathleen, and so the K and the R look very similar. So that could work. That could be something. I really like that exercise. I want to learn more about that exercise, actually.
Here's Ed. Ed's doing it.
Look at it. He just did it perfectly.
Yeah.
See, anybody could do my signature. I think I need to make it harder.
Yeah.
Just don't make a J in a circle, Jill.
I know. I was going to do that. Then I saw yours and I went, oh, well, that's taken.
But you can do a little square instead of a circle.
Or
Yeah.
JR in a circle. If that other artist doesn't put it in a circle, you might do something like that too.
Yeah. You know, maybe I should go be like Prince and just change my name to Symbol.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting silly.
The artist
Formerly known as Prince. Yes. Yes.
Okay, I think next we're gonna go. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So we're gonna go. You have one more piece, but I think we'll hold that to the end if we have time.
Yeah, if there's time. It's
Okay.
it's one of the first ones I signed, and it's yeah.
Now, Justin, I think you have two images, and I think they're sculptures. Is that right?
I think so. Mhm.
So is this showing up for folks yet?
There we go.
There you go. So should I tell you what I think I'll title it, or do you want to?
What medium is it in size and all that?
Well, it's about 3 feet tall and about 5 feet wide, and all metal.
Oh, it's a concept. Okay.
But it's going to, I think, to Lone Tree in a few months, so it'll be more than a concept by then. Hopefully, it'll be real. So I don't know where to title. I mean, I don't know where to sign it or anything, but I've titled it "Bye Bye Butterfly." I don't know if that's any good, or I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Are the children part of your sculpture, or is that like a mock-up for size to show size?
That's kind of to show the scale. That's all.
Okay, I was wondering if you're in these transparent cutouts in a
Yes, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, sorry, that's
So the sculpture is the butterfly
Yeah.
that's on these springs, right?
Mhm.
the springs support these spheres, and those are the two seats.
You can sit on them.
Yeah. Those spheres are out in front of the butterfly, so they're the seats, and then the butterfly is the seat back.
And what were you going to call it?
Bye Bye Butterfly.
I like Bouncing Butterfly.
Yeah.
We're gonna really have fun here.
I know. It's a naming party.
Right.
Bye Bye Butterfly. Aw.
Well, you have a platform there for this, right? So with sculpture, usually you could just sign it on the platform, on the pedestal there that you have as your supporting platform. So that would be the easiest place to sign, where people could really see your signature as well, discreetly there somehow, but you could, or you could even on the body of the butterfly, very discreetly, you could etch it in. This would be metal, right?
Metal,
Yeah.
painted metal.
Wow, I can't wait to see it when it's done, Justin. Very fantastic.
It's going to be kind of crazy to make, but my welder and I will manage it somehow.
And then you'll paint it. You're gonna paint it with the colors of the
Yeah.
butterflies?
Paint it all nice and beautiful blues and yellows and all that.
You know about the Bye Bye Butterfly? It sounds sad to me.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like it's like they're dying off. Goodbye, butterfly. It was
Oh.
nice to know you.
it shouldn't be like that. It's
Yeah.
this is joyful and fun, and so I need something to reflect that.
Yeah.
So I like the concept of alliteration that you were doing with Bye Bye Butterfly, though. And I don't know why the word bijou came into my mind, so I just thought of bijou butterfly, because bijou means small and elegant.
Oh,
It usually refers to like a place or an establishment, but the butterfly would be a place that people would go. But
okay.
yeah, I think just exploring that alliteration is kind of a good idea.
All right. Yes.
Yeah,
I
that's
liked Maria's recommendation on signing on the platform. So as kids rub on it, and maybe it has a few actual like marks or something, it never wears off your name. And it doesn't have to be nearly as subtle on the platform as it would have to be on the actual sculpture.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Will people be able to actually, or kids, to sit on the balls? Is that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And won't it will swerve back to right and left besides up and down, right? Or
They'll bounce a little tiny bit. Those are going to be automobile suspension springs. So their kids are probably barely going to be able to move those.
oh, I see. Okay.
Maybe just a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe just a little bit, but it's meant to be mostly secure enough so they don't go flying off of there and in their heads.
Very cool.
And Justin, you have one more here.
So before we move off of that one, Justin, when Maria's recommendation, if you put it by one of the base circles, then chances are people aren't going to step on it, and then it wouldn't be worn off.
Yeah.
I could if I do it on the base, I'll just do it, kind of tuck it underneath there, so where they're not stepping on it.
Yeah,
exactly.
in that little.
And then you could even fit the title there because it's a cool creative title at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Justin, is it like a concrete base, or what's the base going to be?
I haven't
You don't
I
know.
haven't figured everything out here yet, but what I have drawn there is probably just a metal plank, but it could be, and maybe it should be concrete so that it's set in the concrete really, steady and securely.
What's keeping it from going back and forth? Like I see that you have 2 points where the sculpture is, rested, but you need is the body of it being a third point so it becomes more stable, or?
I didn't think it would probably need to be more stable because the 2 points of the butterfly that come down, that'll all be like pipe or metal, and that'll be secure enough. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it needs the body of the butterfly coming down to touch. I'd prefer it not, so that it looks lighter.
Yeah, and my concern would be that all this weight on those 2 little, butterfly ends of wings there, and it's depending on how heavy this whole thing is.
The butterfly is just really the seat back, so you'll just rest against it. Okay. The balls there is what you sit on. So yeah, but I appreciate your thought about the weight and stuff. But I think my welder has got it all figured out as far as the strength of it.
Great. Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing this develop.
Okay, good.
And Justin, the other thing about sculptures is you could do like a brass plaque also and stick it on the platform.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, big one, like 2 feet across. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
And the next one. Okay.
So far my title for it is what is it? Yes, I'm talking to you.
Nice.
Good.
Or Psst, I'm talking to you.
And that's an ear. The white is an ear.
Yeah.
Right? A giant ear. Yeah. Fantastic.
A giant ear. And what's that made out of?
That will be probably a carved piece of foam with epoxy smeared onto it, like this 2-part epoxy stuff that dries, cures real hard.
And how is it attached to the coil there?
That's a very good question. I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
I bought the coil. Again, it's a automotive suspension coil, and maybe that yellow base. I picked up a old disc brake from a car, so it'll be sturdy. But in sculpture, you've always got to talk about these connections and making them strong, and that's always the big question is, how does this fit to
Right.
this?
I know.
And so I'll figure it out, but I'll probably put a pipe or something through the ear and have it run down through the middle of the spring and into that yellow
Okay, yeah,
yellow piece.
right.
I like the title.
Yeah, I do too.
Good.
So that one's going to Prairie Village, Kansas, I think it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I have a few months to make it.
Great.
Let's see.
So
And
where should I sign it?
well, you have a lot of choice there.
I was thinking around the front edge of the yellow base.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that's a good spot.
Okay.
Or maybe,
Yes.
what you mean on the edge itself so that it's readable? I would put it on the top of the base itself so that someone would have to go up to see it because it would be a little too visible on the yellow part there. I don't know.
It could be, but the base, the black base, that I don't know. I won't own that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Oh,
they'll
that's
provide.
oh, I see. That's just to put on.
Yeah, they're going to provide that.
And if you sign it, are you going to paint a signature on there? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
how to do it.
Wow, this is going to be wonderful to see how you solve all these little challenges that you
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, Justin, I think you can tattoo the ear.
Tattoo the ear.
Is it going to have an earring?
Maybe I should put an earring in it. Yes.
Yes.
With
Well,
a
that's kind
tag
of
with
what
your
she's
name on
bringing.
it.
Big old ring in the bottom. Okay. Thanks.
Or could your name be sort of engraved in the back of the ear? So it's like white, so it's still white, but on the back,
Mhm.
Well, that's a good idea.
along curving along the side, maybe. Just another
Yeah.
idea.
I like
Oh.
that idea, actually. I like it because it becomes part of the work without, signing it in a kind of like a painterly way on the yellow. But I like that idea. It becomes more of a sculptural element.
To put it on the back.
To put it like Jeannie's saying, it's going to be like a plaster ear, right? You could carve it in there. You could carve your name in there. Just,
Oh.
etch it in.
Oh.
But on the back, I was thinking the back though.
Well, the sculpture has no back, Jeannie.
It has to, isn't it standing in the middle of a park?
Yeah, but you can go around it. That's the whole
Well,
thing.
well, that's what I mean. It's
Um,
on the back of the ear. Yeah. So it is, I mean, you wouldn't call the back of the ear the front of the sculpture, right? You'd call it the back of the sculpture.
Well, Maria's referring to the concept of sculpture being visible in 3 dimensions and walking around and all that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Oh,
I mean, I
okay.
want, so somebody would walk in the back and there's your signature on the back of the
Mhm.
ear and the curve, following the curve.
I like that idea the best. For
Oh.
Okay,
signing.
cool. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we're going to go to Kathy Hall. So, Kathy, it looks like you've already signed this one.
Yeah.
You did? Let's see.
Oh, I
don't
found
see
it.
Wow,
Oh, there it is. Yes.
nicely done.
Let's
Very-
try that.
Very nicely done.
But I had the problem with, if it's a small painting, I put K Hall, and if it's a large painting, I put my whole name.
Mhm.
So I get more consistent, maybe just K Hall all the time.
That's nice. Just exactly. And I like the way that you signed it with the color that blends in. It's part of the work. It's readable, but it's, it's not the first thing you see. Nice.
It reminds me of, and I hate to say this, but it reminds me of Charlotte's Web.
Oh, that's right, because
Some
it's
pig.
written in the spider web, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the paint on the web.
And it's true. The signature sort of looks like part of the web.
It does. It actually, because it's the same. It has the same feeling as the web and the same color. So yeah, it's kind of like that.
Mhm. Cool.
I
What
really like this
medium?
piece too, by the way.
And what medium is this?
This is it was supposed to be watercolor. It is mostly watercolor. And I have this was my a kind of an experiment with that masking fluid.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
I had to go back in because it makes a thick line.
Uh-huh.
So I had to go back. I went back in with like Posca marker, not Posca, Tomboy markers to
Mhm.
kind of narrow it down a little bit, and the background was uneven, so I kind of went back with pastel. It's
Mhm.
really, I did a lot of
So
Mhm.
it's multimedia.
mixed
right.
media. It's a really nice piece, though. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
That
looking
is
for a
nice.
title also, Kathy? I'm sorry, whoever was talking, sorry to interrupt.
Oh yeah, what did I think I put a pretty basic I said spider web and what do they call these teasel, spider web and teasel.
Thistle?
Teasel?
Teasel.
Teasel.
Teasel. TEASESLE, I think.
Mm.
It's a type of a weed. Yeah.
Well, instead of Charlotte's Web, it could be Catherine's Web.
There you go.
Cool.
Okay,
Very good on the signature.
we're gonna go next to Shannon. Let's see here.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Shannon, are you able to talk? I think you're on mute.
There we go. Now I can talk.
Wow.
So it's photography, and you're doing this digital. Is it digital signature or?
Yes, it's a digital signature. I do my prints on metal,
Mhm.
and it's kind of a, do you sign them or not?
Right.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's looks like a logo. It's very beautiful.
Yeah, it's a logo.
It is also my logo.
Mhm.
And I just, I liked it. And I think that's a little large on this one, but
Uh-huh.
I probably would have done it. When I do it again, I'll do it smaller, but it's just kind of, do you sign them or not on a metal print? And some people want it on there when I sell them and some don't, or some don't say anything. So
Mhm.
I'm just kind of a, do I or don't I? There's always information on the back of the
Okay.
print, but
Well, and I think it's interesting with art because if somebody doesn't like it, that means they're not gonna. If they don't like the signature on there, they're not gonna buy it.
Mhm.
right, yeah.
So it's possible maybe you could even say if you can purchase with or without signature.
Mhm.
hmm
Gives them a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would make
So-
it a little smaller on this piece. It's a little bit,
Absolutely.
because you're
And I
out.
was thinking of moving it up into the red rock where it's not quite as noticeable. Make it smaller and
I was actually thinking, having it stand out a little bit is not terrible. So maybe on the left, because there's kind of a blurrier area and the white is almost the highlights of the rock texture.
That's what I was thinking
oh,
too.
That's a
I was
good
thinking
one.
that too.
It
that's
offers
a
less
great idea.
contrast. Yeah.
And it's
not
kind
as-
of got that almost framed out shape that's a slightly different color.
Mhm.
That's
Like
nice.
it lends
idea.
itself to a
Great
signature.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
also, I find myself, I do a lot of sunrise and sunset. And this one is titled Sunset in the Garden of the Gods. And I'd like to be more, when you experience something that's beautiful, I would like the title to be more like that.
Mhm.
I mean, everyone knows it's a sunset, but
And a lot of people knows it's the Garden of the Gods. So,
Yes, yeah.
but yeah, it needs a magic title, right?
Well, magic.
I mean by that something that's just as awesome as the view.
Mhm. So, any ideas?
Okay, let's see.
I don't have one off the top of my head, but a lot of times I'll write down keywords when I'm looking at a picture, and then I'll kind of move those around and mix and match them. So I'll start randomly throwing out like godly sunset, garden sunset, God's garden, art, and then mix and match them to see if something more poetic comes out of it.
That's a good idea too. It's so
Yeah.
redundant, and to have sunset or sunrise.
Although we have Dave Kennedy, who is at the Wilderness and runs our group there. He paints clouds, and so he paints clouds, and on top of the ocean he paints stormy clouds. And then one day he said to me, I title my work so that people can find by the theme, like they're going through the internet and they want a stormy sky. Well, I'm your man because I got stormy sky, and you go look under. There's a whole bunch of paintings with stormy sky, this, whatever, or somehow or other the title refers to the content of his painting. So he says he sells more work that way than if he titled it a gorgeous something or other, that people are not looking for. So I thought that was an interesting take on titling work,
I like that. Yeah, it's just something, like you say, more poetic, but descriptive also. And
well, for sure, having the word Garden of the Gods, because a lot of people want something for that. It's such a tourist attraction and a beautiful place. So to having those words, it's important. So
about lenticular sunset.
Pardon me?
Lenticular sunset, since you have lenticular clouds.
That is lenticular. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
That's a little obscure. I tend to go off the deep end, but.
So Shannon, twice you've said poetic. So, and it is a sunset, poetic sunset, or sunset poetry, even better.
Oh, I like that.
But I'll add Garden of the Gods.
Yes.
About Hand of the Gods or Magic of the Gods. Something referring to the cloud and the rocky formation.
Right.
Because the clouds
sacred sunset.
You guys are great.
The other thing that came to me is there's a movie called Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Right.
That's what I
like it.
Yeah, and it's a nice big. It's what, a movie? It's a great title.
Yeah, it's a movie.
That's a movie.
It'd have to be sunset or sunrise in the Garden of Good and Evil. It can't be midnight. This is not midnight. Come on, Ed.
That was just an example.
I know. I got to give Ed a hard time. So Rob Lance, he owns the gallery, our gallery, and he does landscapes, prints on metal. And does he always include his full name? I think he does, doesn't he?
Good question. I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think it's a good choice.
It's very discreet. Well, I have a little painting of his in I can go look to see how he signed it. But yeah, I've never, it's so discreet that it's not, it's not calling you. Because
right. And I think this I kind of did this one in a hurry, mainly to get it on there. But I do agree it needs to be smaller, and I love the idea of putting it on the left side.
I don't know. Can you guys see it? I put a signature.
Oh, you put it on there. Yeah, I see it now.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, that looks much better.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that looks much better.
Oh, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the input. Sometimes you just get kind of blocked with some of these things. And
Yeah, no, like we're talking about, signing stuff is really important.
Yeah.
By the way, when we do our Saturday critique, this kind of stuff is perfect. We have a group of artists and
Yeah.
we will brainstorm whatever people ask and come up with all sorts of answers, and you get to decide whether you agree with any of them.
That's great.
It's kind of fun. We have a good time on Saturday morning.
They're very helpful for titling things.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be,
And for
that'd be
messing
great.
around too.
I'll have to start coming to those. That sounds fast because that's the hard. I don't have trouble seeing the beauty, but sometimes expressing the title is very difficult. So
You know what I see in this is that there's mountains on the left and mountains on the right, and then you have these clouds kind of almost like the gods are talking to each other, like the gods of the left and the I know,
like
I
a
go this way,
connection.
but the gods in the right, and they're whispering to each other. It's I could read all kinds of things into there, but it's really pretty, really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, fabulous.
You've given me some wonderful ideas. Thank you all.
Sure.
It's like godly chatter at sunset.
Yeah, that type of thing.
And
The gods are
awesome.
whispering.
Yes.
You could do whispering of the gods.
Mhm.
It's garden of the gods, whispers.
I
of
like
the
it. I
Oh,
like it a
I
lot.
like that too. Evening whispers are. That's wonderful.
Sunset Whispers at the Garden of the Gods.
That's a good one. I like that. At the garden. of
I'm
the-
writing these down.
Good.
This is recorded too, so you can,
Oh,
whenever I
good.
get around to posting, I still haven't done last month's, but yeah, it'll be available eventually.
Oh, that'll be wonderful because this is going up in actually in a lodge up in Estes, but
How big is it?
this one is 36 by 15, I believe.
Wow. I'd like to have a smaller version of it, but I just really I'm in love with it.
Well, I'm sure
Well,
it's for
thank
sale.
you. It is for sale.
Signed or
And I
unsigned.
can do many different sizes. So
Oh.
it's
Oh, that's
All right.
good to know.
I'm gonna switch over. I had to show Smile here. He's a famous graffiti artist, I guess, in Boulder, and I see his art all around town.
Wow.
He's got this really noticeable kind of icon for his signature, SMILE. And here's another one of them. This one.
I'm always taking pictures of them too.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think they must be stencils.
Yes, I think they are. To
But-
get them nice and clean and not take forever to do that.
Mhm.
I like that.
I like the graphic element of this.
Yeah.
I like his signature; is very cool
Yep.
too.
Ed, did you get the image of the signature?
Yes, I was
put it in
going to
the
show that.
folder.
next.
Okay.
So Francis sent this. So Francis, this is just a sort of your drawing or something that you use for this icon thing that you have. Is that right?
Is this like a stamp or like a?
Well, I do have a stamp, a wax stamp, a rubber stamp, and what I put on the stone is about the size of an eraser head. Do you have it on the screen?
Yeah, we
setting
don't
it.
see it yet.
There
There
you
it
go.
is.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Worried because you had to enlarge it. It was really tiny.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know which one I pulled up, but that's essentially, I always make my Fs, the lowercase f's, as they did, and I didn't realize it until the Declaration of Independence. I make it as a backward loop instead of the traditional loop it up and loop it in front. And then the touching the two is the A, if you could see the A in there, and the L is for list to. My husband said I should have had the pin actually, and take a picture of it, but I didn't have time to do all that. Maybe next time or something. But would this be okay on a painting instead of attaching the pin?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, because like this becomes your logo, and then of course you're going to have your information on the back legibly and all. So
Right.
this could be, and it's distinct enough that the way you are putting those letters, not, people aren't going to copy that so easily. It's very
They don't even know what it is.
yeah, but it has a very beautiful graphic look to it. So
Okay, good. Well, then I will do that.
mhm.
Hope to Saturday join you all, since I just started doing abstract paintings, acrylic abstract paintings for Art to Life. Nicholas Wilson did a workshop on it, and encouraged me. I did acrylic pours before, and pen and ink is my love. There's my stone. Don't think I have a stone that shows the pin though. That's on a turntable, by the way,
Oh, great.
and that's yellow marble.
Mm.
Um, I'll join you on Saturday.
That'd be great.
That would be fabulous. Yeah.
I'd like your feedback on my abstracts, because I look at abstracts and say, what the heck? What are they? And now I'm putting them together and I'm saying, maybe I like doing abstracts. I certainly don't, I'm not very good at painting, that's nice. I'm not very good at painting landscapes and etc. I'm too pen and inky. I need all the details in there. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Frances.
you. That was great.
We're almost out of time, so I wanted to show sort of the graphic icon kind of thing that I do. This is a pen and ink drawing I did, and I do this little square with the EN inside of it.
I think this is absolutely beautiful. The way you put it in red, it's just gorgeous. It's so
Yeah.
oriental, and it's really, if it had been in black and white, it wouldn't be quite as, there's just something very daring about it. And you put it in the right place, in terms of the B and it's really wonderful.
And the other thing I did, since I was using a really tiny pen, is I signed it right here. You can't really see it, but it's hardly legible. It's a tiny little, my name right there.
That's nice.
And I'll often actually hide my initials in my paintings,
Mm-hmm.
just as only I see them. And then this is this kind of icon thing on a painting. If it's updating for folks.
While it's updating, look at Justin. He has his grandchild. I just wanted to comment on that while it's updating. Sorry to interrupt, but I wasn't sure if Justin was going to leave us before we see.
Yeah, we have to see the baby.
He's his first time grandpa. Oh, there you are. Oh my gosh.
He's smiling.
Smiling. Oh, we scared him. No, he's not.
Hi, baby. Hi.
All right.
So, Ed, what were you saying? I'm sorry, I interrupted.
That's okay.
No, that was
We
wonderful.
got to see the baby. I was just saying, the apple painting is. I showed that. Let's see if I can bring it up again. I did I've never really done my signature in the red on a painting before, but this is the first time I've done it. It seemed like it fit for this particular painting. So
Absolutely.
with the icon, it's
Very
not
nice.
too obtrusive, I don't think.
Not at all.
Oh.
But, so the two, they're two like pages together, or how is
It's
it?
two separate panels, so it's a one board attached to another, so it's 2 levels.
That's very cool. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Thank you. So I think that's it for today. That's all the time we have. We're at 8 o'clock. Thank you so much, Maria. Anything,
Oh,
Jill?
thank
I
you.
wanted to mention, I actually Googled and I put this in the chat. artist signature library. They have like this massive lists of all these artists, and you can click on it and see their signatures.
Yes.
It's a really
Oh.
neat link. So if you guys feel like poking around and just checking out, I put it in the chat, and it says artist signature library, and there's a link.
Great.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's a
wonderful.
great, yeah, that's great research, Jill. Thank you.
So Ed, how did you sign that little painting that I just love of the little piece of cloth there that I told you looks like a metal sculpture? How did you sign that?
Signed it with my signature. Let me see if I can find it here.
Because that.
Yeah, it's just yeah.
Oh wow, that's great. Very good.
So in reddish. I
Yeah.
mean, there is some red in the painting, so
No, no, that looks wonderful. It's really well done.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's fabulous. All right. Well, thank you very much for.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Maria.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all. Such talented people. This is my first time and I'm so impressed. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it was fantastic conversation. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it too.
Thanks,
So,
Ed.
yeah, and Sherry, it's good to see you. It's been a while since we've seen you on Zoom. Please join us either Saturday or also the second Tuesday of April. We're not sure what the program is going to be, so.
Okay, I
Thank
will.
you.
Okay. Thanks, guys. See you
Yeah.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Right.